Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Nonstop Talking with your girl here, Vivian Liu. February is Black History Month, and in honor of this, I wanted to recommend you some books to check out. I have compiled a list of 11 titles, and they are in alphabetical order, so let's start. Number 1 is Becoming by Michelle Obama, published in 2018. In short, this is former First Lady Michelle Obama's autobiography chronicling kind of like her early years in life and then going to her and President Obama's exit from the White House. I listened to this as an audiobook, and I think that Michelle Obama has a great narrating voice. This was really interesting, and I enjoyed listening to her talk about how like her life changes, and then like the inside look of her time in the White House and the struggles that she had to go through. This was very well articulated, and Michelle Obama is just so empowering and strong and inspirational. I gave this a 4 out of 5 and would highly recommend you check out the audiobook. Book number 2 is Beloved by Toni Morrison. Firstly, rest in peace, Toni Morrison. I read Beloved in high school for required reading my junior year. If I'm being honest, I don't remember much of it except for like certain scenes. So I'm long overdue for a reread. Anyways, I saw on Wikipedia that Toni Morrison was the first Black female editor in fiction at Random House in New York City, which is just so impressive. If you don't know what the story is about, let me quickly read to you the Goodreads synopsis. So Seth was a born slave and escaped to Ohio, but 18 years later she is still not free. She has too many memories of Sweet Home, the beautiful farm where so many hideous things happened. Her new home is haunted by the ghost of her baby who died nameless and whose tombstone is engraved with the single word beloved. Hopefully I will get to my reread of Beloved soon. And book 3 is Born a Crime, Stories from a South American Childhood by Trevor Noah. I love Trevor Noah. I first saw him on The Daily Show and think that he's a great host. I also watched all of his Netflix specials. I really enjoy his sense of humor and how he sees the world, especially with all that he has gone through in life. Trevor Noah narrates his own audiobook, and it's freaking fantastic. I highly recommend listening to the audiobook. I laughed, I teared, I gasped. It was just so many emotions. Plus, it was cool learning about the people, culture, and languages of South Africa. Trevor Noah has become someone I really admire, and I gave Born a Crime 5 out of 5 stars. Book number 4 is Courage to Soar, A Body in Motion, A Life in Balance by Simone Biles. So Simone Biles is an Olympic gold medalist gymnast. She is truly inspiring. I watched her during the Olympics. I follow her on Instagram. I think she's so impressive, and I'm completely just a fan of hers. Although I gave the autobiography only a 3 out of 5, I still believe Simone Biles is a force to be reckoned with, and I have so much respect for this young woman. And if you're interested, I think you should check out her autobiography and seriously just continue to support her. Book 5 is Dear Martin by Nick Stone. So Justice is top of his class, Ivy League bound, but none of that matters when he gets handcuffed by the police. And when this incident happens, he kind of starts looking into Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s teachings just to, I guess, find answers, understand his emotions, and he starts journaling to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dear Martin is topical and hard-hitting, especially since it's so real life. I hope that everyone who reads it takes away some sort of knowledge and compassion from it, which is why I'm highly recommending it. I ended up giving it a 4.5 out of 5. I think the message came through strong and it hurt. I got so emotional. I was feeling sad and mad at the same time. For such a short book, I think it definitely left its impact and at times was a little difficult to listen to. I would say that if I was to do this again, I would pick up the physical book instead of the audiobook, but that's just a personal preference. Number 6 is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, told beautifully in verse. This is about 15-year-old Will, who is riding down the elevator with a gun to avenge his brother, and at each floor, someone from his past steps in to try to give him a piece of the story. The audiobook is narrated by the author and the words are absolutely stunning. It's extremely deep and profound and the ending is haunting. The conclusion still lingers with me now and I highly recommend it. It's not long at all, so seriously give it a try if you haven't. I ended up giving it a 4.5 out of 5. At number 7 is March, written by John Lewis and Andrew Aydin and illustrated by Nate Powell. This is a 3-volume graphic novel set collection about Congressman John Lewis's lifelong struggle and fight for civil and human rights. If I'm remembering it correctly, I think I originally first saw this being recommended on Sean King's Facebook page, and so I went on Amazon and bought the beautiful set collection and I read it in February 2018 and honestly I was just blown away. The story is so raw that it hurts and the art is stunning and adds to the storytelling. There's just so much about the civil rights movement which is never taught in US schools. I gave the first book and second book 5 out of 5 stars and I gave the third and final book 4.5 out of 5. It's freaking educational and I feel like no one else has read this or heard of this, and so I literally just had my collection set to my friends and I'm just just read it even though you don't read graphic novels. So pretty much that's what I'm saying to you too. I really love this. This was on my favorites list of 2018. Read it even if you don't read graphic novels. It's so good. By the way, I don't know when I will get around to editing and then posting this, but in this video I do want to wish Congressman John Lewis a speedy recovery and continuous good health. Stay strong, and everyone else read March. Number 8 is the Reluctant Royals series by Alyssa Cole. So I do want to try to make sure that this list highlights books from different genres. As a heavy romance reader, I wanted to make sure that I have something from that category. The Reluctant Royals series is extremely diverse and inclusive and just shines a really nice light on Black women falling in love. There are 3 books and 2 short stories and I've read them all. I think that they're all very solid. My favorite is definitely book 2, A Duke by Default. If you love romance, I think you should really check out this series. Number 9 is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. So inspired by the Black Lives Matters movement, 16-year-old Star Carter witnesses the fatal shooting of her unarmed childhood best friends at the hands of a police officer. This, I guess, is a relatively new book. It was published in 2017 and took the reading community kind of by storm, and I'm pretty sure it's practically on everyone's list. I read this in 2017 and gave it a 5 out of 5. It's realistic, moving, and a great young adult depiction of the current US climate. A friend who listened to my recommendation also joined me in watching the movie. The movie and the novel are a little different, but I think that they're both amazing and would recommend you to read both the book and watch the film. This is Angie Thomas's debut novel, and her second book, On the Come Up, is fantastic as well. I personally like The Hate You Give a little bit more, but I definitely would recommend them both. And if you do like pick up On the Come Up, I would say to go with the audiobook because there are like parts, like rap bits in there. Number 10 is The New Jim Crow: Mass Incarceration in the Age of Color Blindness by Michelle Alexander. First, I'm going to quickly read you a portion of the Goodreads synopsis so you can get a gist of what this is about, even though the title pretty much hints at it already. Jarvis Cotton's great-great-grandfather could not vote as a slave. His great-grandfather was beaten to death by the Ku Klux Klan for attempting to vote. His grandfather was prevented from voting by Klan intimidation. His father was barred by poll taxes and literacy tests. Today, Cotton cannot vote because he, like many black men in the United States, has been labeled a felon and is currently on parole. Although Jim Crow laws have been wiped off the books, an astonishing percentage of the African American community remains trapped in a subordinate status, much like their grandparents before them. Former litigator turned legal scholar Michelle Alexander provocatively argues that we have not ended racial caste in America, we have simply redesigned it. This is an intelligent, well-written, and informed short book. It's seriously good food for thought if you've never heard or learned about this topic in college. Number 11 is Thick and Other Essays by Tressie McMillan Cotton. I actually watched her promote this book on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and I kind of just fell for her charm during the interview, and that's why I picked up Thick and Other Essays. I thought it was smart, profound, and articulate, discussing an array of topics including black womanhood. It opened my eyes up to new discussions, so I would say like definitely give it a try. There was like one topic that I found particularly interesting. Alright, that's it. Those are my 11 Black History Month book recommendations for the year 2020. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these and what are your thoughts. Feel free to also recommend me your Black History Month book pick. Outro time. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in my next video whenever that is. Bye! Narrated by the author.